housemate of mine we did my bachelor's with. So he had posted something on Facebook. So I got interested, and then I asked him to send it to me. So I saw it was an advertisement from the ministry, and by then I was an intern at National Trout Hatchery, where I work as a fisheries officer now. So I consulted my boss, and he told me I can try. So now I applied for the scholarship, and I got successful. Towards the end of 2020, I started my project. Here I identified this farmer from a friend at the National Trout Hatchery. So now I started my project. Okay, I wanted to see whether cricket, which is a Gyrus bimaculatus, common name field cricket, I wanted to see whether I can partially replace fish meal with that cricket, because as you see now, because of climate change and overfishing, so the fish meal, that is omena, is diminishing. So now there is need to look for other sources of alternative for protein, and it must have high crude protein to replace that fish meal. So now I identified field cricket, which has a crude protein of approximately 58%. So now from that 58, I was able to formulate feed that has a crude protein of 35%. After formulating the feeds, I also came here and did the greenhouse. I also was using hoppers, because now you see, because of space, you cannot have like so many ponds. So I was using hoppers, measuring 1 meter by 1.5, and each hopper had 40 pieces of Nile tilapia. And I used Nile tilapia I started with 1 gram Nile tilapia fingerlings. So after that, I fed them with different types of feed. I was using like 5 types of feeds. I had 5 treatments, which were triplicate. So I was feeding them with one feed had 100% fish meal, so it had no cricket. The other one had 25% of cricket and 75% of fish meal. The treatment 3 had 50% cricket and 50% fish meal. The other, number 4, had 100% cricket. And then I was using a commercial feed as a control feed. I cultured the fish for 4 months. I used to feed them twice, in the morning at 10 and at 4. And also I used to take measure water quality parameters. I was measuring dissolved oxygen, temperature, total dissolved solids, and electron conductivity. So beyond that, I also had to do proximate analysis on the feed to make sure it had the nutrient content required by tilapia. I also did aflatoxin analysis to make sure that this cricket was not coming to introduce aflatoxin in the feed. I also did bacterial occurrence load. Bacterial load occurrence to make sure also that introduction of cricket is not bringing other bad bacteria in the water and also in the fish. In my results, I found that the feed that gave the highest growth rate was the one that had 100% fish meal. But now, closely, there was this that had 25% of cricket. It also had high growth rate, followed by the 50%, followed by the one that had 100% and the commercial feed. So now, from that, have seen that cricket, I can recommend that cricket can replace fish meal by 25%. Now I also did economic analysis. So the 25% was between the profit margin. So you can replace 25% and also make profit. But others, they were making like losses. When you compare the amount of money, the value of the harvested fish and the feed that you made, the feed was expensive. I found out that my feed had very minimal contamination because it was below the recommended 10 parts per million. So my feed was okay. And also, and the bacterial load also, there was no significant contamination of bad bacteria. And the proximate analysis I did showed that my feed, all of them, there was no significant difference because all my feed were approximately 35% crude protein and also other nutrients like ash, crude fiber, ether extract. They were all okay for that. They had the required amounts for Nile tilapia growth. Okay, insects, they have a very high potential because insects can be easily cultured by individual farmers. So if farmers can actually take up that practice, it can be cheaper for them because the insects, like the cricket, feeds on readily available materials like the green vegetables, the sweet potato tubers. So when you compare that with the fish meal, which is diminishing in the lakes, it has a potential. The insects have potential, very high potential. I also want to recommend that maybe I can do more research on the cricket to know their amino acid content and fatty acid content. Yes, so if given another opportunity, I would appreciate.